When we left off with the Chapter 4 assignment tips video, we were just getting into ActionScript. To reiterate, what we did is made sure that our stop movie layer, which is technically our ActionScript layer, is at the very top, and we made sure that we created stop actions wherever we wanted the page to stop. We don't want it to stop back on frame 1 because we want to have all of these things animate in, and then it should stop once they're already settled. Then we want it to stop on the Trex page so that people have a chance to read it, look at it, and then choose when they want to go back to home. And then for the cruises page, we didn't stop on frame 1 because if we did, then we'd never see this ship animation come in. So instead, we let people go all the way through, and I can see an error, the ship goes behind, so we'll fix that in a second. But we want to have it so that it stops at the end of that cruise ship animation. So let's first fix that animated ship. It needs to be in front of that cruise image. And it's up to you whether you want it to go in front of the text or not, so I want it to go in front. Alright, so that's going to animate in, and we have our stop actions. Let's go ahead and test this out by going to Control and Test Movie, Test, or Command Enter or Control Return. Animates. Everything gives us time. They don't all happen at once, which would freak people out. They don't all happen at once. They each animate in one at a time. Then when I click on Trex, see, we've got a problem. Before, when we only had 5 frames, we told Trex to be on frame 5, and therefore that Trex button went to frame 5. So let's go ahead and unlock this and see how to do this in CS6, and at the end of this video, we will see how to do it in Creative Cloud. So let's click on Trex. Go to Actions. It says on release, so when somebody clicks and releases their button, it's going to go to and play frame 5. Unfortunately, now our page is actually on frame 85. So we could come in here and we can change this to 85, and then it should work. Let's go ahead and check our cruises page. Let's go ahead and open this up. Let's go to our cruises button, and this doesn't have any ActionScript, so we can go to Global Functions, Timeline Control, Go To, and we actually want to go to and play, so be really careful with that. You want to go to and play frame 90. You don't want to jump to the end of the cruises page. You want to go to the beginning of the cruises page, and you want it to play so that they can see this cruise ship animation. So we're going to go to and play frame 90, and hopefully that works. Then last thing is we need to check on this home button, and right now that's going to frame 1 and it's going to play. So that's good, but maybe not the best choice. Let's test it out. So Ultimate Tours, drop, all of them come in, go to Trex, it waits, go home, and see why it might not be the best option, because every single time they go home they have to watch this animation. So let's go ahead and click on Cruises. It goes to and it plays that animation, which maybe we need to slow down by adding more frames. So let's go ahead and fix that as well. So let's say we want this animation to go all the way to frame 135. So let's highlight all of these, because obviously all of these are there on frame 135, and hit F5 so that they last a lot longer. We still need to move that stop so that it stops at the end of that animation. And then let's go back and fix this home button so that instead of going back to frame 1, maybe it ends on or jumps back to frame 80 or even frame 50, so that we can at least just see the buttons animated. So let's see how that goes. We'll click in here and we'll go to frame 50. Alright, so frame 50, let's go ahead and test this out. So it animates in. If I go to Trex, go home, I didn't have to watch all of it, just the buttons, cruises, and now that's a little bit slower now that we've added more frames, which we could add more later. Okay, so here's a little tip. Instead of telling it what frame number to go to, and this is going to be something that you go over in another chapter, so we can call these page labels. And there are these handy little things called frame labels, and what they do is they allow you to put a little flag here, kind of like in golf, that says here's the end of home page. So I'll go ahead and hit F6 That way we can add a frame label here. And up here in the properties panel, we can give this label home. So that gives you this indication, this little red flag and this text in here that says, hey, this is the home page. So then this one will hit F6. This is the Trex page. So then this one is the cruises page, or at least the start of the cruises page. So we'll go ahead and hit F6 and we'll do cruises. So now what you can do is back here, when we're looking at each of these buttons, instead of going to a frame number, you can choose frame label, and we automatically want this to go to, Trex, right? Trex page. Okay. So same thing here with the cruises. Instead of going to a frame number, go to frame label and cruises. And then if we come over here, this home button, we want this to automatically go to home. So it's not a lot different. It's still doing the same thing. It's looking for something called home. It's looking for something called Trex, and it's jumping to it. And if I ever had an animation with Trex, or if I wanted to move things down, I need to move this with it. So cruises page starts all right here. If I move that for some reason, I need to move this label with it, or even I could put the label here. If I know on cruises headings that it's always going to be the start of the cruises page, I could definitely come here and call that cruises. So that might even be a better way to do it. But okay, let's go ahead and see how to do this in Creative Cloud. So this is what our finished animation looks like, and our stop action script does in fact work, but we need to call this layer actions because that's the actual proper name for the actions layer that we keep in our timeline. So Creative Cloud likes to stop actions, but it only likes to have script actually in the actions frame here. It doesn't like them attached to objects. So it only likes to stop scripts that we've already created. So now what we need to do is we need to add actions to our actual buttons. To do this with Creative Cloud or ActionScript 3.0, we first need to give our button an instance name. So we'll call this Trex_BTN, and I'll click on cruises and do cruises_BTN. Now we could type this script out, but let's go ahead and make it easy on ourselves and go to code snippets. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Trex, code snippets, and I'm going to go to timeline navigation and click to go to frame and stop, or click to go to frame and play. And I'm just always going to do play because I've already told it where to stop on the timeline. So click on that, and I'm going to say click to go to frame and play, and I want it to go to frame 90 because that's where our Trex page is. So let's go ahead and change that to frame 90. And here, I'll show you the other way to do it if you had frame labels. So let's say this is the start of our cruises page, which it is. I'm going to call this cruises. Okay. So on this action script, we're going to go ahead and hit F6 so that we can add actions for this cruises button. So, and we might not even have to do that. Let's just go ahead and go back here, and cruises and code snippets go to frame and play. Instead of actually doing 5, we can do quote cruises end quote, whatever you typed in that frame label. So now it's always going to look for that frame label and jump to it. So then for the home page, if we come over here, again, we can call this home_BTN. And code snippets, click to go to frame and play. So our frame 85. So basically that instance name is right here. So it automatically added the instance name in there, and it says whenever the instance of that button is clicked, it's going to go to and play frame 85. So let's test this out. And it looks like it's working. Oh, and I need to come in and add ActionScript to that home button. So if we come here, see how right here on this actions it says home button go to 85. we need to figure out why it's not happening. Well, the reason why is because that action script lives on this frame, on frame 90, and it applies to all the frames after it until it hits a keyframe. So this button right here doesn't have any action script. See how when I'm on frame 150 and I click on the button? So I'll click to go to frame and play, and we want it to go to frame 85. And now if we test it out, click on cruises, click home, and there we go. So that's the basics of working with ActionScript, moving things around in the timeline, both for CS6 and Creative Cloud. Frame labels, again, work throughout all of them. You'll learn that in a later chapter, but you can look in your textbook or Google it. But hopefully this helped you work through chapter 4 and make sure that you have everything set the way you need it. It's just a matter of shoving things down and getting comfortable with being able to move things down the timeline and know when you need to make them last for a certain amount of time.